Between the 6th and 5th centuries BC, in a town called Elea, south of Naples, lived a thinker who is also said to have been a physician and a naturalist, Parmenides. Before him, other Ionic philosophers like Thales, Anaximenes, and Anaximander had already inquired into the principle, the arche, believed to have given origin to the universe. There were thus a number of cosmological hypotheses concerning the primordial elements which had supposedly given rise to the reality of all things. Parmenides, however, represents a radical change of direction with respect to these earlier hypotheses. Could you tell us why this is?
Well, because Parmenides went a step beyond these first attempts at clarification and explanation of the universe. That is, he asked himself, what is the whole? What is the being or essence of the whole? We talk about the origin of the universe, but what was there before? Nowadays we are faced with the same problem with the Big Bang, when scientists tell us about this original explosion from which everything started. And we, non-experts, ask, but what was there before that? The physicists then smile, but our question remains. Well, Parmenides also asked the same question we ask today. What was there before? And he said, there was nothingness. But what does that mean? This is Parmenides' question.
Professor Gadamer, what is the true meaning of the term philosophy?
Der Ausdruck Philosophie.
Our use of the term philosophy is really a modern one, going back into the 17th century, when the concept of modern science took its place alongside that of the total knowledge of mankind. In the history of thought, there is a single exception to this use of the word philosophy, and it was not among the Greeks as a whole, but rather only with Plato. Only Plato said, it is not knowledge, but rather striving for knowledge that sets man apart. That is why the wise man, the sophos, is the Greek ideal. Plato was the only one to say, this ideal is more than men have any right to expect, since they are always underway in search of knowledge. This ideal is what is really connected to the belief in progress of modern research. It is very interesting that a truly balanced culture does not believe in unlimited progress, but rather in the maintenance of order.
An Aufrechterhaltung seiner Ordnungen.
When we asked you to tell us about the differentiation of science and philosophy, your answer mainly centered on science. Could you now please tell us when they came to be separated?
Ich glaube, die Frage kann man gut beantworten.
I believe there is a good answer to that, and it is the one Socrates provided us with. Cicero said it was Socrates who brought philosophy back down from the heavens, from astronomy and the workings of nature, back down to the man in the street, with the question, how should we act? That seems to me to be the beginning of the separation of a theoretical stance from a practical one. What should we do or not do in order to build a reasonable, a good, a happy life?
Ein vernünftiges und gutes, glückliches Leben aufbauen zu können.
For I spend all my time going about trying to persuade you, young and old, to make your first and chief concern not for your bodies, nor for your possessions, but for the highest welfare of your souls, proclaiming as I go, wealth does not bring goodness, but goodness brings wealth and every other blessing, both to the individual and to the state.
The Western form of thought is dominant today. In your view, is this due only to technical development, or also to the fact that philosophical reflection is well established in Western thought?
Sicherlich ist es eine geistige.
It has indeed been decisive in the life of the mind that our destiny was shaped by the dominance of European, Western civilization.
Getroffen hat. Sicher war es
Certainly, it was the Greek beginnings that created such things as mathematics and proof of mathematical truths.
Weise für mathematische Wahrheiten.
That ideal of proof existed in no other culture.
Das hat sich
It first developed in Greece
und ist dann
and was then revived and put on new foundations in modern times in the 17th century.
insofern sind die Griechen
In that respect,
doch
the Greeks sired our civilization. To our good fortune, they sired our civilization. Because fortunately the Greeks were not only a scientifically gifted people, they had as well a strong feeling for humanity and for the fortunes and joy of life.
Glück und Freude
And that
des Lebens.
is something we can still learn anew from them.
Die theoretische Leidenschaft
Our human passion for theory and our use of reason in practical matters are not two entirely separate things.
sind nicht zwei völlig verschiedene Dinge.
Both involve abilities that have been part of us since time immemorial.
Voraus.
One
Ist
is the ability to ask a question,
und
and then to hold on to that question so that we can seek an answer rather than simply expect an immediate one.
den Ausdruck davor
The term for that is
Forschung.
research.
Cerca. Nun, ich glaube,
I happen to believe that you need that in practical matters as well as theoretical ones. Anyone who acts
nach den rechten
looks for the right means to achieve goals.
Also die
Thus,
praktische Vernunft
practical reason and theoretical reason are one and the same.
am Anfang
At the beginning of all this stands our primordial ability to step back from the immediate stimuli of the world, to want a future.
und
And that means
Zukunft
asking
zu wollen.
questions.
Und das ist Fragen können.